Good morning, Rabbi Seid. Mordechai. So Erev Shabbos we were by Rameir Shapiro's caver, and the individual Avi Charlap, big Heberman, put together this whole thing with a bunch of tents, and this is what the outside of our tent looked like. And then he went ahead, he built this himself. Don't ask me why, but this is what the inside looked like. It even has me in the front, things in the back. It's unbelievable. All right, now we can put this over here. Welcome to all the guests. Yossi Kletskin sent me an email in Hebrew. I'm just gonna read some of the ideas. He puts together some tips that he put together over his 2.5 cycles of doing the daf. Basically, he's saying that Daf Yomi is he doesn't explain it, but he says you should do the daf after something that you do every day, like after davening, after eating, in the beginning of work, after you finish work. I think what he's trying to say is that Daf Yomi is a habit, and in order to make something a habit, it's a good idea to do it right after something. So after you brush your teeth, you do this. Some people brush their teeth and they do push-ups. They connect a good habit with something that they know, and it becomes part of them. Then he says, don't worry about missing. You shouldn't have any holes that are more than 2 and 3 daf, but then jump ahead. You should always give yourself like a physical pleasure after, like you do a siyum, you buy yourself something, a little something, award yourself. Once in a while, take count of what you accomplished, how many dapim you did, how many daf are left to the Masechta. Be proud of what you do. Tell the people around you that you're doing the daf. It's already 700 daf. And everybody needs their chizuk, and it's great when people know what you're doing. They can give you chizuk. You should always involve your family, your wife, your children. They should be part of it, and promise yourself goals that if you finish this Masechta, you'll go on a nice trip. That's what he says. Yossi Kletskin. Jacob Friedman. I'll call him Yankel. Yankel Friedman. Good morning, Rebelli. My name is Yitzchak Friedman. Oh, Yitzchak. His email is Jacob. Yitzchak Friedman, a chassid from Borough Park. It's now over 2 years that I haven't missed a day of learning. That's over 700 days of consecutively learning, no matter what it was. Zerv Erev, Motzi Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av, the day my wife had a baby, trips with the family, etc. Anyway, and of course, you, Rebelli, get a special thanks for this and for encouraging the slogan. It's not about the daf, it's about the yomi. My family rented a house for sukkahs, and after 3-day yontiv, the excitement of my kids to see that we can play this year on a big screen was unbelievable. See attached picture. I would like to thank you again and the whole MDY team. Keep it up. Looking forward to meeting you in person again at the Shabbaton. After only attending the Motzi Shabbos event, the last Shabbaton, I'm sure joining the full Shabbaton this time will give me a big chizuk to continue going. Imir Hashem, your Talmud for over 2 years. Rebbe Yitzchak, Yishkoyach. This is a car spotted in Teaneck. Now, yesterday we spoke about Elchanan Pressman's car. We didn't know it's Elchanan. It's one of the best license plate. However, I didn't know that his wife has even a better license plate. Take a look. His license plate is MDY. How could it get better? That's a mishpacha of MDY. Not bad, huh? Mayor Fishman, dear Rebelli, I was just now by the oil of Lubavitch. I was mispelled for my Rebbe, Eli Ben Rus. Chutzif called me Eli. It's Leo.
A rabbi guy.
He wrote, Eli Ben Rus. Your Talmud since, I'm sure Akash Baruch Hu knows who Eli is. Your Talmud since Gittin Daf Beis, looking forward for the Shabbos. I was there last year. It was an unbelievable Shabbos. Your shir is about an hour. It takes me like 3 hours due to my business phone calls. Oh, he's not saying that he learns the shir for 3 hours. It just takes him 3 hours. He does other stuff in between. I enjoy every minute of it.
Like you.
Yeah. Talking about that. I hope to finish shots with MDY. Your Talmud from Bura Park, another one. Bura Park, B-U-R-A, Buddha Park. They even spell things differently. Mayor Fishman. I love it. You know what? Let me just read this real quickly because this is stuck in my Gemara for 2 months already. Since Yom Shlishi Parshas Matis Maseh. This is from, I'm not joking. Is he here today? He's not here. So I'll read it when Rocky is here. I'll keep it in my Gemara. Okay, fine, great. We could start learning Torah. We have to do sponsors and zechus. The Mazel sponsors for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnassa B'revach Zechariah Ben Moshe Seid, Chaya bas Yosef. Parnassa B'revach, the Lakewood family, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best Segula. Parnassa B'revach, Yosef and Chaya, Sara for Parnassa B'revach. Parnassa B'revach, Kidnovations in honor of my uncle Rebbitzen Pressman. We just saw his license plate and his wife's license plate. And Fishel should be a zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga. A shidduch for, if you come to the Shabbaton, you're going to see both Rebbitzen and Pressman. I think he's an oval, no? But you're allowed to come when you're an oval. For Shabbos, not for the Mazel Shabbos. We'll see him there. He better be there. We'll see Fishel that I know. We'll see Fishel's extended family. It should be a zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga. You'll see Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga. Be'ezer Hashem, he'll be there. A shidduch for Rivka Yehudit's Bas Chaya. She'll be there, Be'ezer Hashem. I'm not kidding. A thank you to Rebbitzen Stefansky. She'll be there. For selflessly giving up her husband for the klal. I'll be there. It should be a zechus for a year filled with Mazel, Bracha. I did not prepare this, but that's how it came out. Parnassa B'revach and Refuah. Yishkoyach. Parnassa Shavua. Refuah Shlema for Yosef. In other words, if a Elchanan Pressman doesn't show up there, it's going to be a big problem. This whole thing is there, and he's not there. Refuah Shlema for Yosef Chaim Shmuel Ben Alten from his grateful family. Mitchell Seid, dedicated to the speedy healing refuah of Mitchell Seid, Mordechai Ben Moshe Seid. That's how you pronounce it, right? S-E-I-D. Parnassa Yoim, his friends, Yortzeit. Ariel Ben Zion, his neshama should have an aliyah, dies, no kids. That's what it says there. Dies, no kids. His neshama should have an aliyah. Yisrael Sher, for refuah Shlema, for Mindel Chano Bas Leah. By Barry Schleifer, since Shabbos Daf Beis. Okay, you can come on the cruise. Lili Nishmas, Imi Mirasi, from Mitchell Basra Baruch Eliezer. Parnassa Yoim, for Hatzlacha, for Yoel Yudah Ben Devora, and again, I'll say it again, for that Hatzlacha, for Yoel Yudah Ben Devora. The heart of the month, for zechus, for rebellion, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable with so many. The coffee corner. This guy donated $5,000 for 8 months, which is a lot of money. It's $40,000. I do want to mention, though...
That's on top of everything he's done until now.
Yeah, that's on top of everything he's did until now. Yishkoyach Gadol. We will still take more Art Month sponsors because it costs us about 3 times that amount.
There's 3 artists.
Because we have 3 artists, yeah. Coffee Corner of the Week. Yankee Brook, Refuah Shlema, Shoshana Razel Bas Chana. She had a large liver issue, 2 years old. Rabbi say we're holding by a brand new Mishnah, Kuflam and Chesam Beis, all the way on the bottom. Check this out. Just to remind the Olam, here's the situation. A father owns real estate and it has produce. It could be a nursing home. It can be a tree with apples. And the father wants to make sure that his son gets it. There's no issues. But he also wants to make sure that he has what to eat in his lifetime. So he says, I'm giving this to you from today and after death. So what does the son receive? The son receives the actual real estate, the principal, and the father gets to eat the fruit. So the Mishnah says, simple, since it's his fruit, he gets to remove the fruit and give it, sell it, do whatever he wants with it. It's his 100%. There's no condition that he must benefit it for himself. He could sell it if he wants. And whatever he leaves in a box, on the floor, on the ground, Harei hu shel yarshim, it belongs to all the sons, not just the son that inherited the tree. All the sons get the share. So what happens if it's not in a box? It's still on the tree. The Mishnah says, if it's off the tree, all the sons inherit it. What about what's on the tree? L'chayra would go to the son that owns the tree. Says the Gemara, Talush in Mechuber Lai. It can be medayik, very simple. It says that if they're detached, then it goes to the other sons. Mechuber, anything that's attached to the tree. Since this son, this guy on the left, owns the tree and it's attached to the tree, it should be his. Batanyo, Shamin is Mechubarim Lelikeach. In this situation, let me just see where. This one. So what happened over here? We have a father. He gave the tree to the son. The son goes ahead and sells off the tree while his father is still alive. Yeah, he goes and sells. In this case, he's selling the fruit. He sells the tree. Okay, I didn't have a real good, perfect picture for this, but just l'saber so'inayim. So, sorry, just he's not gonna get out. Probably. Sorry. No, come. Sit. Rabbi Schoenberg is with us, literally from the first day, from the second day. Huh? He's from the second day. He's going to give up his spot on the cruise to somebody else. So this may be like one of the first times in 7.5 years that I've seen him come late. Even either he's not here. I don't know what happened. Something happened. Okay, fine. Shalom Aleichem, Schoenberg. What happened? Sheni Chamishi Sheni. So what? It's not the first Sheni Chamishi Sheni in this last 7.5 years. It's the Chazin's fault. Okay. So now, Chamal, Rabbi Schoenberg, we're holding in the middle of this. That there's a father who gave the tree, the real estate to his son. The son went ahead and sold it. So it says, we're holding the top line of Daf Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph. Shomim es hamechubarim lalui keach. So it says that all the fruit that's attached to the tree, the guy that buys it, the guy with the, what is it called? Those jeans he's wearing, the overalls. What are they called? Overalls. They're called overalls. The guy, the farmer that bought the tree, he has to count how many apples there are, how much they're worth, and give that money to the kids, to the Yarshim. But the problem is, if it's attached to the tree, we just said that he gets to keep it. Anything attached to the tree goes to the one that owns the actual tree. We can make a distinction between a farmer with overalls and his own son. It's very interesting because he has other sons also. But when a person loves his son, so therefore the person will give his son the tree with the fruit, whereas a farmer or anybody else that comes and purchases a tree, it does not include the fruit. Famous story from Yisrael Salanter, famous mashal. It has to do with this week's parasha. It says, "Es bincha es yichidcha asher hafta." Because Baruch was describing Yitzchak, "Es bincha es yichidcha asher hafta." So, I guess the kasha is Rashi over here says interesting Rashi. A lot of people don't believe me when I tell them because people say, "Oh, a father, how could you be upset at your son who goes off the derech?" Rashi says that Avraham Avinu hated Yishmael because he went off the derech. He hated Lefisha Soinoi. That's what Rashi says. Just lashon. And people are, well, maybe Rashi didn't mean it. Okay, whatever. But it says, Pasha Pshat.
Avinu also said, I love them both.
Right. Oh. So what's the Pshat? So Yisrael Salanter says, a mashal is, there's a Rosh Yeshiva that had a son that went off. And he has a Talmud. He loves his Talmud. He spends all day with the Talmud and shmooze with him and learning and this, and he eats by him on Shabbos. And the best friends. And then a fire breaks out in the yeshiva. Who's the Rosh Yeshiva going to save? His best friend or his own son? He's going to save his son. Because deep down, a father always loves his son like nothing else. And even if right now he's upset at him and they didn't speak in 3 months, he still loves his son. Daita shalalim kroiva eitzel b'noi. Mashal Takash Baruch Hu, son, take it wherever you want to go. Just the Yisoid in life. Halavai, you know what? I'm thinking that Halavai, our sons should know how true that is. They know that truth when they have a son themselves. But when they're teenagers, they say, my best friend loves me much more than you, etc. Duyot. When there's a fire, then they know the truth. Yeah, okay, but we shouldn't get to that, Malcolm. Talking about fires, I'll say, I wasn't planning on saying it, but it came into my mind. I'll say, this morning, there was a siren, very rare here in Ramat Bet Shemesh, especially in the middle of the night, and it could be a little scary. So one of my family members went running was half asleep and hit a wall and ended up on the floor. Like, you know, like this is what people say, that people get injured from the siren, from running, from the panic, but just again, I said this once and somebody wrote me an email. He says, what do you mean us Americans don't understand what you're going through? Of course we do. How could, he was upset at me, Betaina, wrote me a nasty, like not a nasty, but like, it was not nice. It was condescending that I said that America, no, I'm going to say, what?
Condescending.
Condescending, what did I say?
Condescending.
All right.
Whatever, okay, you know what I'm saying. The point is, stop screaming at me. It was the epic center, whatever. The point is, no one could say that they understand what it is to have a son in Gaza or in Lebanon when they don't have one. You could say it as much as you want. Oh, I understand. No, you don't. And nobody could say they understand what it means to live in England when you go on a train and they're anti-Semitic. No, you don't. Nobody can understand what it means to live through a siren when everybody's running and rushing and hitting walls and this and that. You could hear it, you read about it, but you're not there. I'm sorry, if you're not there, you're not there. Yeah, I understand. So you go to Shiva house. So yeah, I'm sure could understand how you lost a kid or a son. No, you don't. Shaita, you don't. Okay, next. Says the Mishnah, if somebody left older children, younger children, then the older children cannot purchase, what's misparnasim? Clothing. They can't buy clothing off the general account of the Yerusha. You want to buy clothing, take it off your own account, but not from the general. And younger children are not going to buy food off the general account. Interesting. The Rambam says, if you ask somebody in our generation, what costs more, to feed a young kid or an older kid? Say an older kid, because the older kid eats larger steaks, this, that. He says, no, this nash stuff, where is it? This nash costs more than feeding an older kid. That's what he says. So, V'im Amru, this picture is really for a little later, but it's Beseder. This is the older kid buying fancy clothes on the account, and there's a reason for it. Now, this is important to remember these words because we're going to be discussing these words a little bit. Ela cholkim b'shava, that I didn't say, but we have to say it, and I'm not talking about these words. Ela cholkim b'shava, they must divide the Yerusha equally. Nasu hagdolim, these words right over here, these 4 words. Nasu hagdolim, yisu aktanim. What does that mean? If the older children got married, so the younger children could get married. In other words, if the state paid for the older children's weddings, so the younger children can also be married off the estate. That's the end of this. That's what the Gemara is going to say at the end. The Gemara has another pshat. The Gemara thought it's this pshat. Let's see. So again, nasu hagdolim. If the older ones got married, yisu aktanim, the younger ones could get married. The Gemara just sticks in. I want to point it out here so you remember when we get there that it's not like abstract. But nasu hagdolim, the Gemara understood the older ones got married, or let's see. Okay, so just remember these 4 words. Lebal, mibal, who did get married, what get married. And if the younger ones say, we want to get married, just like you spend $100,000 on your wedding, we want to spend $100,000 on our wedding.
That was a lot, though.
Oh, that's what the Gemara is going to explain. Ein shoymim lem. The Gemara is going to ask. It looks like a contradiction. Over here it says if the older ones got married, the younger ones can get married. A second later it says if the Ktanim said we want to get married like you, no, we don't listen to you. Elo mash nosan lo maviyim nosan. Whatever the father gave them, gave them. Happens to be like I know of people that saved up money. They have a lot of kids. Let's say they have 10 children. They save, and finally when the first one gets married, they take all their savings and marry off their first child. And they're like, oops, what do I do now? I don't have any money left for my second child. And they have like another 9 children in line. Chaya used to be a caterer. I said the story, but Rocky, I was going to read the email, but you weren't here. You got to come on time, man. I got to get this thing out of my Gemara. It's like poking out. I got to get rid of it. So I said this mice, but it's gewaldig. Just I'll say the whole thing together. I used to meet the parents of the Kala and the Kala and give them, go over the menu, tell them the rules, how many minutes in the yichud room, and then I'm like really, really strict about time. I used to run a very tight ship over there. Anyway, father comes and says in front of his daughter, he says, listen, I put aside $100,000+, and I'm willing to give it to you as a gift right now. But if you want to use it for your wedding, you can use it for your wedding. You can do whatever you want. You want to do a $20,000 wedding, you'll take all that money, whatever's left over. And she looks at him, she says, absolutely not. I don't want any money. I just want the nicest wedding possible. $100,000 is nothing for my wedding. I need more. And then she looks at me and she says, you probably heard this from me. She says, listen, I always had a dream to come into the hall on a white horse. Could we do that? I said, yeah, we could do that. And I write it down, white horse. She says, now, also, when I walk into the hall, I want to release these beautiful butterflies. Could we do that? I said, how many butterflies? She says, 50. Okay, 50 butterflies. Then she says, my chassan is very tall, and when he comes to the badekin, he's going to go like that. He's going to hit the chandeliers. Is there any way we could raise the chandeliers? So, yeah, no problem. Raise the chandeliers. And then I said, that's it? That's it. I said, okay, the horse is about $5,000 because we have to clean up all the manure and this, that, it ruins the carpet, $5,000. What? Yeah. Each butterfly is $150 because I have to go catch them afterwards. They go onto the thing, I have to take a special machine and go grab them. And the chandeliers, we could do $1,500 each because you have to get a union electrician and then raise it to $1,500. $37,000. No, I don't need the horse, I don't need the butterflies, I don't need the kitzer. And that was the Yisai, that you always say yes. You say yes, and then yes, but it costs money. Lamaisa, her chasana, she didn't even do it by us at the end, I don't think. I know them very well. I don't think she did it by us. It was in the just the room alone cost more than $100,000, I think she got married at the end at the Hilton. Anyway, fine. Says the Gemara. So no, I'm saying if the kids say, look, you got married for $200,000, why shouldn't I get married for $200,000? Just because we lost our father? Yeah, you got married when he was alive. Yeah, that's how it works. Ain't shoyim lahem. When the father is alive, you can do whatever you want. But now we have a Yerusha to split evenly. Now it's the same halacha again. There's no sons, only daughters. We said a daughter gets a Yerusha. In Agdolis Mispanis al Hagdolis. The older ones can't buy nice clothing on the account of the Yerusha, and the younger ones cannot buy food on the account of the Yerusha. Ella, Chagas B'Shava, you split it up, divide it equally. Nasuk Doilois, Yisuk Tanois. So over here, these are the 4 words really we should remember. Nasuk Doilois, if the older girls got married, Yisuk Tanois, out of the state pays for it. And if the younger ones say, well, you got married, it cost you $200,000, you got married at the Hilton. I also want to get married at the Hilton. Oh, we have a nice picture actually. This is similar to the Hilton usually has, I don't know, some of them have that, that the balcony on top. Kitzer, you got married there, I want to get married there. Ain't sharm lehem. We don't listen to them. So as was said, Nachman said, it's talking about the older one got married in the Hilton because the father was alive. Then he got a heart attack because he had to make a chassan in the Hilton and he died. So the second kid doesn't get married in the Hilton. I'm serious. How many stories have you heard that a guy died during Sheva Brachas? During the wedding, during the Sheva Brachas? No. At least 10. At least 10 stories that I've heard over my lifetime. It's true stories. Yeah. And we could talk about it, but just happened to see, I guess it just came out now, a Berdak, just about this, how the Rosh Koilo guy, Mamish a long beard, the guy from Berdak, the famous Berdak guy, Effie, he has a long beard, he looks gewaldig. And he guilts the other guy into spending money like crazy. He's like, yeah, steht in Pasuk this, and he's quoting Psukim, and the guy has 150,000 shekel he put aside to get an apartment for his son. And Lamaisa, now this is what you're going to get this band, what are people going to say? And then he has people from his koilo call up the guy and shame him and say, what? It's what are you going to have? It's nervine, you only have 500 people at chasana. What kind of chasana is this? It's a great video. You should look at it. And Mamish makes fun of the whole situation. And then this Rosh Koilo was in charge of getting the apartment. So after the chasana, both parents, they go to bring the chassan and the klal into the new apartment. It's underneath a building, and it's blocked by a bunch of garbage cans, and they have to move the garbage cans in. And there's like dirt on the refrigerator. It's like, not really. Kitzer. Anyway, not far from the truth. The point is, stop spending money like that. I tried really hard to convince my daughter not to get married, not to do a fancy wedding. You know how much it helped? Garnishment nisht. The more I try to convince her, the more halavai people should get together and say, like, they got rid of the Shabbos Ufruf, get rid of, at least in Eretz Yisrael, get rid of these crazy weddings. Halavai. Huh? You can't make the you can't force people. People should come a minute. Corona weddings. 10 people, 30 people.
Corona wedding. They did.
Okay, but not as much. Not as much. No, you do it in the, what's his name? And then those houses, people doing it in houses. You did one in a house, in Reichman. Yeah, unbelievable. So, nothing, the marriage is good. Akiva Seder, Givaldik. It's a good thing it's good, because if it wasn't good, I would put you on the spot here. And if the girls, the younger ones, we want a nice wedding, we're dreaming about this, white horse, the whole thing. No. There's one thing, there's a difference between girls and boys. If the girls and boys, then the girls get they get food. But if they're girls, just girls, then the younger girls don't take money from the older girls. They get money right out of the ksuba, whatever they deserve. Omar Rava. The older boy did this. He went and he bought a fancy suit. I don't even know if Armani's fancy, but that's what the artist thought back in the day in yeshiva. Huh?
That was fancy
back then. Now, we had the sugi once, and the point is, when you're in charge of the business of the state, you need to look, you have to dress well. You can't come like a schlumper and hope that somebody's going to take care of you and listen to you. You have to look presentable, and therefore, he bought clothing. You shouldn't, but if he went ahead and he bought clothing without asking any questions, going against the rules, then what he bought will come out of the estate. There's a story with Reb Zisha that he came to a city, nobody knew who he was, and he came with tattered clothing, and he asked for food, and nobody really gave him food. The following year, he came again, but he was wearing a nice beketcha. So people respected him, and some guy gave him kugel. So he took the kugel, and he put it in the pocket of the beketcha. So the Eilan was like, what are you doing, Rebbe? He says, last year I came here, nobody gave me food. This year, I'm the same Talmid Chacham I was last year, but they gave me food. Why did they give me food? They gave me food because I'm wearing a beketcha. So it's not me, it's the beketcha. So I gave the kugel to the beketcha. But wait a minute, we learned in our Mishnah that the older child should not buy a suit off of the estate. Says Gemara Masisim Bishracha. Our Mishnah is talking about a guy that's not a kid, that's not in charge of the state. He's a batlin. He doesn't do anything. So if he doesn't do anything, why should he get nice clothing? He plays video games all day. He doesn't go out and do something for the state. So a guy like that, he should get clothing. He should buy the nice Nikes, whatever they are. Says Gemara Shracha Pshita. If he doesn't do anything, what's the havamina that he should take clothing off the estate? Mal the same enichelu the loy. The younger children, they don't want their older brother to look like a shlump. Kamash Malon, too bad. You don't take money off the estate. Nosuk doilim yisuk tanim. My kamar. L'chayra, it's a contradiction. Here's the Mishnah. If you're too lazy to look in here, we did this for you. It says in the Mishnah, Nasu hagdoilim yisuk tanim. That if the older ones get married, the younger ones could get married. A line later it says, Harei noisim kedushin asasa at them. We want to get married like you. Ain't sherman lamb. What's going on? My kamar. Omer Rav Yudochi kamar. Nosuk doilim la'achar misavihim. If the older ones got married after the father died, yisuk tanim la'achar misavihim. So the younger ones have the same privilege to get married. They got married. How did the older ones get married? From the estate. It cost $100,000. So the younger ones also take from the state $100,000. Aval Nasu. There's a organization here in Israel. I don't know if anybody needs it or everybody wants it. But they try to bring the cost down. Some people go a little bit overboard, and each side should have $1 million. So $180,000 with the apartment, with the wedding, with everything. 180,000 shekels. It's a lot of money still, but they put a limit to it. and then they have a whole database of names of shidduchim, and if you want to use their database, you have to promise that you're going to do 180, and for all your children. So even if you have Tziyadim and Chevron who could get theoretically a full whatever it's called, I don't even know what it's called, Sidur Malay, you promise you're not going to take more than 180 from each side. Okay, it's called Shas Simcha Ben Fayga. Look it up if you need it. But if the older ones got married when the father is alive and he wanted to schwitz and do all these fancy weddings, I'm sure you guys, I was at a wedding, and this is years ago. I know for a fact, the guy showed me, he spent $1 million, over $1 million that night. Today it's nothing. In New York, they probably do it all the time. But just the music that he brought in from New York, and the singers, and $1 million. The college dress could cost, $100,000. You have to fly this one, that one. You come in, Italy, who knows what. Yeah. $1 million for a few hours, all your friends enjoy, nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody cares. I'm saying, you want to give it to the kids. You give it, and if you're giving that to the kids, give even more. You another $1 million. Who cares about $1 million? Me personally, because I was a caterer, I couldn't care less. Oh, so the older kids got beautiful weddings. It's not fair. It's mamish not fair. Not only are we Yisayim, now we don't even get a nice wedding. Ain't showing them. We don't care. We don't listen. We don't take money out of the state. Whatever he gave to the older ones, he gave. That's when he was alive. Now it starts all over. Bargniva sent a question to Rava. Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu, can you please teach us? Lavsa va'achla va'amda v'nises. Where was it? Oh. You have a woman, single. She borrowed money. Here, she borrows money. $100. What does she do with the $100? She buys a bunch of ice cream. And the $100 is gone. She consumed it. The $100 is only $100. They're not going to write a document. They're not going to write a star. No star. If there's no star, so the lender cannot go after her property. She has a property. She has a piece of real estate. She has a nursing home. Then she gets married. So what happens to the nursing home? It's nichsim elog. Nichsim elog means that the husband gets to use his wife's property. He gets all benefits. The what? Yusufrucht. Yusufrucht. The kids are words that in Panish they don't use, we don't use here. So if she borrowed, she consumed, and she had real estate, and there was no documentation. Today it's mamish the opposite. If you ask yourselves, you got married, your kala probably had a decent job, she's saving money like crazy, saving. You're yeshiva bacher, you owed all your friends money, right? That's usually how it works. No? That's how it worked by me. I went with a lot of debt into my wedding. No? Nobody knows what I'm talking about? No. Okay. Here you have a woman who she's borrowing. Oh, well, actually, she had a nursing home. So here's the question. Rabbi said it's a beautiful question. When he gets to use this real estate, let's just show this again. It's called nichsim elog. Why? Check this out. It's like plucking feathers off a chicken. She comes in with a nice, healthy chicken, and the husband keeps on plucking. Why? There's a nursing home. Sorry. And the nursing home is worth $1 million. And when they get married, all the income from the nursing home goes to the husband. And if the nursing home goes down in value, guess what? After he dies, she just picks up the broken pieces and Shalom Yisrael. So it's called nichsim elog. Now, plucking feathers out of the thing. If it's worth less, worth less. Now, how do we view the husband now? The husband, right now, here, in this picture. What is he? Did he inherit this nursing home from his wife? Even if they're alive and well and they're married. Or did he purchase it from her? He has to have some sort of status. What kind of status is it? Did it come like halachically into his hands like a Yerusha? Or he purchased it? Nafkemina. Let's say, right over here, our case. Bal lekechavi or yerishavi. Lekayachavi, if he's a purchaser, umil valpe in a govim in a lekuchos. Since she borrowed $100 to buy ice cream, that's called a milval pet. There's no shtar. It happened verbally, al pet. But the guy could still go after anybody that purchases real estate afterwards. Or dilma yorishavi, or perhaps he's considered an inheritor. Umilval pet goyim in a yorishim. He could go after the husband's nursing home. So Shayla, could the ice cream, the lender, could he go after the nursing home or not? If he's a purchaser, no. And if he's a Yairish, yes. Omar Leitanino, we learned. Nosuk doilos yisuk tanois. So those are the words I told you to remember because here, all it says in the Mishnah, Nosuk doilos, if the older girls got married, yisuk tanois, the younger girls could also get married. So we learned pshat, simple pshat. If the older girls got married from this state, the younger girls can get married from this state. But there's a different pshat, a deeper pshat. If the older girls got married to who? To a husband, and they ate up all the Yerusha, there was a pile of cash when the father died, and they ate it up. So now, the older girl owes money to the younger girl. If she ate up all the cash, she's a loiva. And she has a nursing home. Yisuk tanois, how is the younger girl going to get married? She's going to go after the husband. And she's going to take, the younger girl is going to take from the nursing home to get married. The nursing home that the husband inherited from his wife because he's an inheritor. But if the husband is a leikeach, if he's a purchaser, how could the younger girl go after the nursing home? He purchased it. It's too late. So, so it says, sorry, Gdoilos Yisu Tanina, Nasuk Gdoilos Yisu Tanis, my love, Nasuk Gdoilos Lebal. So you stick in a lamed, you see, Lebal. It doesn't say it in the Mishnah. Nasuk Gdoilos to who? To a husband. And then it says, Yisuk Tanis, meaning Mibal. From, where do they get married from? From the pocket of the husband of the older daughter. Why? Again, because the older daughter grabbed all the money and she used it, so she became a borrower. And you could go after her husband's property. Because a borrower, you could go after the borrower's property, even though it's a milval pet. Lie. You didn't read it well. This is how you have to read it. Both of them have a lamed, there's no mem in there. If the older ones got married to a husband, the younger ones could get married to a husband. In other words, it's just saying, you be fair. Whatever the older one spent from this state, the younger one will spend from this state. But it's not shot, you go after the husband. So says the Gemara, we can't say that. Why? Look, check this out. On the bottom, he says Mefurish Mem. He doesn't say Lamed. Meaning that the story was that the older girl used up all the money in this state, but she had a nursing home from this state. And when she got married, it's as if the husband inherited her. So the younger girl, when she wants to get married, she's going to go after the nursing home that was inherited by the husband. So you see, it's an inheritance, not a purchase. So the Gemara says, okay, so I want to bring a raya from this case that if there's an older girl and a younger girl, and the younger girl wants to get married, you see that it's a Yerusha, not a purchase. Says the Gemara, no. Dilma Shani Parnassa D'Isla Kala. This guy, what's the whole point? When you have, there's a difference between a milval peh, nobody knows about, and a milva b'shtar. If there's a document that talks about the loan, then everybody knows about it. So you could come after even you could come after movable properties. So over here, in this case, when there's a younger sister, we're trying to bring a raya. The question was on the case with the ice cream. If she borrows money and she used up the money, and then she got married and she had real estate, could the guy that lent her the money come after the $100 from the real estate? Look, we have a raya from the left case, a younger girl. No raya from the left case. Why? The left case, everybody knows that the younger girl has to get married, and therefore this call is like there's a shtar. So the kitzur, he should know, the husband should know that he has to cough up the money for her chasana. So there's no raya to the case on the right with that when she borrowed $100 without a shtar that nobody knows about that loan, and therefore you cannot go after a regular likeach. Only Rapapa Rava. Okay? Lav hainu de shalach rovim bigarte. Isn't that something that was sent in a letter? from Ravin. Misha meis v'niach almano bas. Rabbi said, take a look at this gewaldige drawing here. There's a father and a mother, and they have a daughter. Now, when the father dies and the daughter inherits everything, how does the mother live? How could she continue living? Who's going to support her? The food comes out of the estate. Okay? Now, the daughter gets married, and the husband takes over the property. The mother continues to eat from the estate. What happens in Rahman al-Islam, the daughter dies. Now the husband is the inheritor. He still continues to support the wife, the mother. Why? It must be that it is a Yerusha. If the husband is considered a purchaser, you don't support people from your property after you purchase a property. If it's a Yerusha, okay, it's part of the family, and then part of it goes to the Almana.
She died.
Who? Who died?
Wife died.
Okay. Exactly. What?
How can you be a lekiach after his wife died?
It's possible. Why not?
He gets it as it is.
He gets it as a Yerusha, but it's bedin lekeach. The Gemara understands it's the same thing.
She is a sheep from the...
We'll see in a second. The Gemara brings a raya mamish from Yerusha. The last words on the summit. So let's see. Misha Meis, Viniach Almano Bas. This story, he died and he left a daughter. And the daughter inherits everything, but he also left a wife. The Almana eats bread from the real estate. Nisas Abbasin, the daughter gets married, she continues to eat. Mesa Abbasin, if the daughter dies, and they said this exact story happened, he continues to eat. If you say that he's an inheritor, that makes sense. But if you say that he's a purchaser, why in the world should the mother-in-law eat from his real estate? We need this raya. We have a mishnah, but nan. When you sell real estate in Eretz Yisrael, it comes back to you on Yovel on the 50th year. There's exceptions to the rule. That's if you purchase something. What if somebody gives you a gift, a piece of real estate as a gift? Gifts do not come back on Yovel. So, let me ask you a question. The second portion of the Bechar, is that a gift or is that a Yerusha? Does it come back on Yovel? Does it go back into the whole pot or not? The answer is, it does not. Why? Because the Torah says, Lasis loy pishnaim. He gives it to him. The father gives it to him as a gift. So that doesn't go back. And what's the first word on Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Beis? Why does Yerusha, when you inherit a wife, why does it not go back on Yovel? Because it's a Yerusha. It's a Yerusha. It's not a purchase. If you say that a Yerusha of a wife is considered a purchase, then it would go back on Yovel to the family. It would go back to the wife's family. But since it doesn't go back to the wife's family, you see that a Yoresh, he's a real Yoresh. It comes from Yerusha, not from buying it. So you see that a husband is considered a Yoresh, not a purchaser. Amalei Rava. Turning to the Daf, Cheshvan, thank you. Berkovici family, somebody wrote that you don't pronounce the E at the end. You do? You do. Zechus klal Yisrael and Glenn Esterson, dedicated to Gilad Shegab Israel. Thank you for bringing the Daf into my life. Baruch Hashem. Either way, what's the first word in the summit? That a husband is a Yairish. We see Mamish Fakert. We see the opposite. Check this out. In this case, the case of the nursing home, the husband is enjoying himself. This every month, tremendous cash flow. He's a big knacker. He does dinners. He's the president of the show. The whole thing. The wife, she gets zero covered. She says, "Enough. Enough is enough." Why him? It's not even his nurse. It's my nursing home. You know what? Let me show him. She goes without telling him. She sells the nursing home. What's halacha? And she came into the marriage with it. He's just benefiting from the income. So they made a takana in Usha that there shouldn't be any fights in the marriage, and women shouldn't do this to their husbands. And she dies. Excuse me. You don't all have to cough with me. It's Seder. The husband. What is it called? There has to be a word like a sympathetic coughing. Like the sympathetic yawning, sympathetic coughing. It happens in middle Shemona Esrei. One kid coughs, it's like a whole chazanas. It's the harmony, the whole thing. So this, I have no idea what I just said. So over here you see that the husband is the first purchaser. He's the original purchaser. Then she went and sold it to Mr. 2. You can't sell something that's already sold to the husband. He could go up and take it out. So is he a purchaser or is he a Yairish? Which one is he? First word of the Amida says he's a Yairish. Now we're holding 4 lines and it says he's a purchaser. We don't know what to do. Now I want to show you one of my favorite videos I found yesterday. There's an animal which is, if you get to learn about this animal, you'll have a better appreciation of the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's called an octopus. Seriously. It's a brilliant animal. It knows how to do things that many animals don't know how to do. It could open bottles and take food out of a bottle. It could sneak out of an aquarium. Crazy stuff. It has a very high intelligence for an animal. But more than that, it has the ability to camouflage itself like nothing. It has ink. It tries to escape. Thank you. It could squirt ink at you and it blurs himself up. The way it swims, the way it has these, it's mamish. It looks from a different world. Anyway, I want to show you this video because not only could it's not like a chameleon. Chameleon takes a few seconds until this thing changes colors exactly to its environment and texture. Texture. You understand what I'm telling you? It can make its skin flat like a piece of metal or bumpy like a rock. Depends what he's trying to do. He can do whatever he wants. Check this out. It's incredible. Niflois habayra mamish live here. And how does this have to do with the sugya? It doesn't. The noise you hear is the scuba diver. Here. It's worth going to Chakras Lake for this. Now it's completely white. I think this one is the nicest one. It turns into green. Green and white. Kilo over there. Brown and white. You're not going now. No, Rabbi Dambi, I don't care. Carpal, not carpal. Okay. What are you? Hold on. I'm going to explain in a second why it has to do with the sugi. Now it turns black, completely black. It's in sugar. Oh, look at this. Second. But also texture. The pel is the texture. Anyway, so the Gemara says that this husband could be an octopus. He can do whatever he wants. Depends where he's at. If he wants to be a Yairish, he's a Yairish. If he wants to be a purchaser, whatever works better for him at any given time. He could be whatever he wants. Whatever is better for him. Gabi Yovel, again, so when it comes to Yovel, if you're a Yairish, then you don't have to give it back. If you're a purchaser, you have to give it back. So, for Yovel, he is a Yairish. Gabi Yovel Shavi Rabban Kirish, that's the first word on the sum. Mishum said that day, he shouldn't lose. Gabi the Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina, a woman who sells the Nichsim Ilug, if he's a Yairish, it's a good sale. If he's a purchaser, he purchases it before the second guy. She takes it out of the guy. Oh, so today, he's a purchaser. I'm just saying, Rabbi, I'm not making this up. When I was learning this Gemara, the first thing that came to my mind, he's an octopus. So I had to show it to you. Now, you might think, well, the guy's nuts. What's octopus? But for me, that's what came in. So I said, I'll show it to you.
I like it.
I don't know if that's a good raya. Elvis, I got to be honest with you. It's almost like when my wife likes the real estate I'm buying. And I was like, wait a minute. There's a problem here. Maybe I shouldn't buy it. That's the Nifsimilog. Gabi the Rovin, When a person has an almana, he left over an almana and a daughter. Mishum say that the almana shavir rabbanik yairish. He's not a lekeach. He is a yairish. He inherits, and if he's an inheritor, he has to provide sustenance to the almana. I want to tell you this ma'aser real quickly, and it's very important. We're talking about almana, so I want to talk about an alman. An alman, someone who loses a wife. I spoke about it just recently. I want to tell you a beautiful story from the Tzadikir Rebbe. A guy that just lost his wife came to the Tzadikir Rebbe with the chasen to get a bracha. So the Tzadikir Rebbe said, okay, I'll give you a bracha on condition that right after the wedding you come back here with the chasen. So after the wedding, he comes back with the chasen and kala. He gives him another bracha, and he asked the chasen and kala if they could step out of the room. And he asked, this is the Friedrich Tzadikir Rebbe, and he said, no, so tell me about the guest that came, and tell me about the flowers, and this, and the Pliny, and the music was unbelievable, and the relatives, the mamish, he believed, okay? And a whole long conversation, very, very long conversation. And afterwards, one of the Gabbarim said, what's Pshat? He spent an hour with this guy. He says, I know that he was going to go home, and he would have nobody to speak to, and it would hurt him. Usually you go home, you discuss with your wife, the chasana, this. I'm choking up saying this ma'aser. To think about, it's godless, to think about another person's feelings. I said the story over, and somebody came over and he says, I was in the shelter, the bomb shelter, the mamad, last time there was sirens, and I was thinking to myself, these single people, there's a bunch of singles out there, that they're in the shelter by themselves. He made 30 calls, 30 different calls to different singles. How you doing? What's going on? To think about the zulas. And one last thing, Avi and myself, we went to visit Barak Shachter. He lost his wife last week at 40-something years old. And he told me something. When he told me, I started crying. He said that he had a bad dream. His wife was very sick, and he had a bad dream. He was dreaming that he was taking his son down. None of his kids are married. He was walking his son down to the chuppah, and his wife wasn't on the other side. He started crying. And while he was crying, Avi was there, he heard it. While he was crying, his wife, in real life, started wiping his tears out of his eyes. Wakes up, says, I heard you crying. In his sleep, he was so pained that in his sleep he was crying. So I'm saying we should have a lot of rachmanas and almanas. One of my relatives made an organization. Her husband was a Stefansky, Eli Stefansky. She made a famous organization for almanas. There's also almanim. Also, they suffer a lot, and singles. The Rebbe Yosef Chanina by this nichsemelug, the guy purchased a nursing home. Now the husband comes and takes it away from him. Why do I care about the husband more than I care about the purchaser? Why should the purchaser lose out? Says the Gemara. He caused his own loss. You know she's married. You know that this nursing home is problematic. That the husband is taking profits from her. Why are you buying it from her? It's your problem. She's married. Hadran aloch yesh noichlin. Hadran aloch yesh noichlin. Hadran aloch yesh noichlin.